Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. I'm happy you are actually over here. This is an exhibition come lecture program on William Shakespeare. You might be wondering what the title really means. Shakespeare for scientists and engineers. Anyway, it's going to be unraveled in the next program at 11 o'clock when we have a lecture on the subject. Now this is an exhibition which has collections of more than 650 pictures, paintings, posters, display material from Shakespeare's plays. William Shakespeare, born in Stratford-upon-Avon, 1564. Interestingly, he was born on the same day, he died on the same day, April 23rd, 1564 and 1660. 38 plays, he wrote longer poems, and perhaps the greatest playwright mankind has seen. In England, when the millennium began, there was a poll to check whether Isaac Newton was preferred to Shakespeare. And interestingly, Shakespeare defeated Isaac Newton as the man of the millennium, which of course does not mean much because we see both sides of the coin. Scientists are as important as the humanists and writers. This exhibition will bring to you, through pictures, the best works of Shakespeare, although there is its place, in the picture form. The first one that I would like you to read last, is the greatest contribution to the English language that Shakespeare has made. We call him a maker of the English language. Believe it or not, he contributed more than 2,000 words which he coined. These are just number of idioms and phrases coined by Shakespeare. When you say holy of holies, when you say love is blind, you don't know that you're saying Shakespeare. Unfortunately, Shakespeare has become a part and parcel of the English language. Now, his plays communicate to you the greatest philosophy of human existence, that are astonishing psychological insight into human behavior. We have here a number of pictures. Please move on. I'll come here. They are all numbered. We start with Shakespeare's life and where he was born. He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, which is about a mile from London. A place called, I'm sure you all know, Marylebone Cricket Club, MCC headquarters. From Marylebone underground station, you have a straight train to Stratford. Avon is the river, so it's Stratford-upon-Avon where he was born. His father was a glover, a man who made gloves with woolen and so on. Now this picture, for example, it depicts all well that ends well. It will have one picture and a brief summary of what is there in the play. And we'll have the best quotations. If Shakespeare is anything, some people say, when you start talking about Shakespeare or reading a play, you are reading quotation book. He is one of the most quoted writers in the history of mankind. To be or not to be, that is the question. All of us use it. We all know Shylock, who talks about a pound of flesh, or the famous speech of Portia, or the famous speech of Mark Antony. I'm keeping them for my main lecture. My love, one of your participants asked me how you fell in love with Shakespeare. My father taught me the first 10 lines of Mark Antony in my second standard. I'm sure many of you know this. Friends, Romans and countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to hear you, Caesar, not to praise him. Whether you're scientists or engineers or whatever you may be, you may become a chartered accountant or a police officer. If you learn grammar, Shakespeare grammar, you will speak English fluently, clearly, distinctly, and with a touch of class. I'm sure when you listen to those plays, you will enjoy them more. These are examples of this has got a plot, main 8 stories. One amazing thing about this collection is all Shakespeare's actors from 16th century to the present day. You see here the picture of a man called Barbage, Richard Barbage, who was an actor during Shakespeare's time. From his picture to the latest picture of the famous man who killed Abraham Lincoln. Very interestingly, John Booth, I don't know if you've heard his name, was a very famous Shakespeare actor. He was in Trenton near New York. A child fell off on the railway track. John Booth jumped and saved the child and came up. The whole station found, my God, a great Shakespeare actor saving the child. After 48 hours, his picture was on the front page of all the newspapers in the world for being the assassin who shot Abraham Lincoln, Shakespeare actor. You have among Shakespeare actors many actors like Laurence Olivier, Sir John Gillygood, any number of actors, Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, name you, I'm sure many of you have enjoyed many of his plays, from Julius Caesar, the MGM production, where you have Marlon Brando acting as Antony, Sir John Gillygood acting as Cassius. I have been telling you more about these in my speech. But here you have pictures of all this and all the details, and I hope it will inspire you to go to his original works. One of the great actors is, of course, Laurence Olivier acting as Hamlet. I'm just taking it around because what is there you'll know. And he wrote 38 plays. We talk about Shakespeare's plays as tragedies, comedies, chronicle plays and romances, 4 types of plays. Tragedy, normally we, perhaps most scientists understand tragedy as something sorrowful and something desolate, something about something sad ending, death of a hero. But in Shakespeare, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, he captured the predicament of the human soul, the profound psychological insight, a spiritual insight, and puts in words what happens to a man going through a soul. Hamlet, indecision, King Lear, lack of discrimination, Othello, a great hero who loved too well but not wisely, Macbeth, limitless ambition. And what is the tragedy all about? At the end of a tragedy, you will find a conflict between good and evil. And you will find all of us have a Macbeth in us when we think of ambition. We have Hamlet when we cannot decide. In fact, one of the greatest diseases of 20th century man is called eternal procrastination. You want to do something, you would like to postpone it. See all this, Shakespeare is a gold mine and is an inexhaustible encyclopedia of human knowledge. Marlon Brando acting as Mark Antony. Comedies, they say for Shakespeare, comedy was instinct, tragedy was skill. On your right side, you will see some small knickknacks here, a little. These are all small knickknacks that have come from a great deal from England. Audios and videos of Shakespeare plays. I brought only a sample of them. If you you buy a small bookmark like this, it will cost you £5 in England. You buy a small book like this is a notebook, they will sell it for £10. They have made $1 billion industry out of Shakespeare. Shakespeare is now available in more than 180 languages, and most of the 234 countries, about 34 more than 44 more than number of members of the United Nations. There are more countries where Shakespeare is read. 40 countries which are not all members of the United Nations but still read William Shakespeare in their language. One thing strange about William Shakespeare is that very often people are told that Shakespeare was a homosexual. I have met a famous French actress who has won 2 Oscars in Canada in 2007. I had an opportunity to talk to her for about 4 minutes. I asked her, who is your greatest friend? She showed me a lady next to her. She showed me a lady next to her. She is my greatest friend. My father, my mother, my husband. It was fashionable. Today, of course, when we talk about legalizing lesbianism or homosexuality, we who belong to a very petrified, closed, conservative community feel funny. Look at 400 years ago, Shakespeare is believed to have loved a man. Anyway, part of that is not very interesting. Nobody ever wrote a better love poem than Shakespeare. When he told his wife, if you go to England, you know what's the value of a summer day. He said, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? You know, the whole idea is, I've had these questions in Shakespeare programs. What about Kalidasa? Wren, who was a teacher in Oxford University, who wrote our Wren and Martin grammar for India, British colony times, and another Lowe, a famous critic. They all say, they write a sentence, Kalidasa is a Shakespeare of India, not the other way around. You understand what I mean? During the 450th birthday celebrations, 36 Indian languages produced 36 plays of Shakespeare in Indian languages. A sample from Kerala. Here you have a biography of Shakespeare. How you have a Shakespeare Express, Shakespeare's hometown, and how the birthday is being celebrated.